Welcome back, and yes, you are seeing this correctly. We are flying out the Mirage 2000D-R1 today. It doesn't have guns, it doesn't have radar missiles, it only has 2 IR missiles, and it's absolutely terrible for RRB. So I thought, why not try to take it out and get 5 kills on the damn thing? Because that's exactly what we are going to be doing today. And you know what I say about flying around without a gun in a vehicle. It makes me feel like I'm flying around with my dick in my hand, and that's kind of what this thing feels like. Luckily, we have the next best thing, the Sneb rocket pod with a whole ass 18 rockets. And then we have the AS-30L, which you unfortunately cannot lock onto enemy planes anymore. Well, you can if they are on the ground, but it doesn't track the vehicle, so you have to manually guide it in. And it doesn't really work at all when you're flying. It really only works when people are on the runway. Fortunately for us, that happens a decent amount nowadays, as long as you don't get steamrolled at the start of the game. And then we have our main armament, the 2 Matra Magics, but we have to keep 2 things in mind. They're very easily flammable, at least from the side and from the front, and the fuse is pretty long, so you basically want to get shots off where you know that they are slow, they are pointing their engine directly at you, and they are either not paying attention to you or afterburning. Well, if they're not paying attention to you, they are probably also afterburning, but it's nice to have a little balance of either. You just want to make sure that if you shoot a missile off, it's actually going to hit, because your potential kills, sure, it's 18 rockets, an AS-30 and 2 magics. In reality, you're probably going to get 2 kills, and then you get sent straight back to the hangar, because this plane simply isn't that great. However, the flight performance is very, very good. The difference between this and the other Mirage, the C5 I believe it is, yes it is, or the CS5 I have to say, they are basically interchangeable. This thing, however, gets a whole ass second crew member. Yeah, massive, I know, and it's about 100 kilograms heavier than the other one, so I think to just put your mother in the back seat and call it a day. It also can carry a little bit more fuel, but in the way that we are going to be flying it today, it doesn't really matter. The funny thing is, the DR1 is a higher rank than the Mirage 2000C. Don't ask me why. In terms of a ground pounder in ground LB, it's pretty solid. And I'll show you exactly why. Because it actually has a pretty decent amount of payload options. Let's go into create. Of course you can carry more bombs. I would say run the magics on the wingtips. But that's me, I like shooting planes. AS-30s are pretty solid in ground RB. And then you have some dumb bombs. Get a targeting pod, which is basically required. And then you can bring some GBUs. I would say paveway 2s. And then like this you have at least 4 guided munitions for the ground. And it's pretty solid. It's not the best. It's really nothing to write home about. But what else are you going to be taking? The Mirage 3E, the F1C, or the F8E? You know, you're probably going to be better off with this thing. Sure, it doesn't have guns, but hey, we have Sneb rocket pods. And before we get started today, thank you to all my YouTube members, as well as my Patreons, and everyone looking to get this decal to put all over the vehicle. You can do so by going down below to the description, using the discount code that I have. You get a 3% discount, you get this decal to put over your vehicle, and I get a cut. So everybody wins, except me today, because I'm gonna be flying a French plane at top tier. Luckily, it's at least a Mirage 2000. So I got 2 games for you today. First one is gonna be 2 kills, more of a average representation of how you can be somewhat effective in this vehicle as a bit of a support fighter. And don't think that this thing is going to be good in RRB. I got 7 kills in this video for you today, and I got 11 kills in the thing total in about 11 games. So we have a pretty decent average of exactly 1 kill per game, but 7 of those kills were in 2 of the games, which is going to kind of skew the average quite a significant amount. This thing is absolutely terrible. Sure, you can get some kills with the magics, but this is more of a meme challenge. In no way, shape or form is this supposed to be a good review of how to fly this thing, because it's not going to be. I do like to use this video as a bit of an argument to everyone that likes to say it's a good vehicle because I got 5 kills in the thing, for the same reason as saying that I can go 50 to 1 in the S199, that I also use as an argument in the video. Is it representable? No. Is it lucky? Definitely yes. But you know, people like to use their arguments. I like to make counter arguments. It's a hobby of mine. So we got 2 kills. And is there much to say? I was shooting at people that weren't really paying attention. There was really nothing here to really talk about. And I can do 2 things now. I can go RTB, or I go and try to help out my team by simply just being bait, dodging missiles, and sitting on people's 6. Because a lot of guys, when they see a Mirage 2000 on their 6, they're not gonna be thinking it's the one without guns and without radar missiles. It's mostly the one that actually, well, is an air superiority fighter. This thing is as well, when we are flying it, not very effective, but it is one nonetheless. We are now parked on the F-16, and he does see a missile on our wingtip, and I don't think he knows exactly what it is, but he does kind of start to panic. I mean, he's not really panicking, but he's trying to go defensive versus me, and I'm just going to try to sit on this guy 6 until he tries to reverse us. Maybe he goes slow, maybe he tries to go vertical, or maybe he gets sent back to the hangar by a teammate. So here's the game that actually went quite well. How are we going to approach this scenario? Firstly, I want to focus people that are either low on flares, late game they're probably not going to have flares, just like the J-35s, and people that aren't paying attention. Right now the J-35 is definitely a nice prime target, because he's just not looking here, he's not pre-flaring, he's not really reacting to us at all, so I shoot the missile off, and that's going to be kill number 1. We now have 1 missile left, and our effectiveness in game has already been halved, because the rocket pod as well as the AS-30 are just not realistic to get any kills with, so I'd rather just push people slow, pick out my targets, and make sure that if I launch the magic, that it's actually going to track someone. So people paying attention are instantly a no. I lock onto this J-35 and I'm waiting a little bit to see if he goes defensive. He sees me, so I'm just going to pull the shot and I'm not going to do anything. I lead the rockets. This is the first time I actually shot the rockets. First time I actually got to use them, and I just criminally underlead. Nowhere close to him. He full commits in the head-on and he dies nonetheless. So it's a good thing I didn't use my missile, because at the end of the day he was going to be dead anyway. Something like a tornado, however, is a very nice target to shoot at. Why? Because the tornado has a very hard time flaring these things, but you want to make sure that it's actually a dead rear aspect shot, because if it's a slight side shot or maybe even like a head-on shot, it's very easy to flare. However, the tornado is extremely hot. It has the flares quite far apart, and very often the magic will just zip right through it and just blow them up. Just you need to be sure that they are not really turning. You want to make sure that they are trying to fly away from you. So at the second I see this guy start dogfighting me, this is a horrible launch aspect, so I'm not going to be taking it. So I break off, I flare, I go defensive against the MiG-21. I go more defensive. And I'm really not worried about getting the kill right now. I'm just trying to be present. I'm just trying to apply pressure. One of the tornado overshoots, and we are going to be engaging the other one. But again, he's turning into us. And this means, as long as he keeps his turn up, I'm not going to be launching missile. He's just going to be flaring it. There is no use here. The other tornado comes in, so I'm just going to go defensive versus him, because all I need to do is try to stay alive. If you can get many kills, just try to apply pressure by being there, scaring people and making sure that they don't get free kills on your friendlies. That's basically the only way you can really do anything in this vehicle, because let's be honest, your battle presence is very minimal. So if it's like a 1v2, if it's like a big team fight, you can do something, but in these very small fights, unless it's actually one-on-one, you are gonna accomplish very little, because you don't have the capability of killing people very fast. The Mirage 2000 still has a very good flight model, and you can dogfight people in it, and if you have the rocket pod and get them slow enough and they stick long enough, yes, you can kill them, but let's be honest, it's just not gonna happen very often. So here's the tornado, and he is flying directly in front of us, and I'm waiting for it. I'm looking for that afterburner. Is he still burning? Yes, he is. He is still afterburning. Can I shoot this? I'm just waiting, and I'm just keeping this guy locked up, because I want to do two things. I want him to start pre-flaring, so he starts running out of countermeasures potentially, or I want him to just kind of forget about me, because I haven't fired yet. Because very often, if you don't fire your missile instantly on someone 6, they are just going to assume that you're not going to at all. So I keep this guy locked up, I wait for a little bit longer, we get in range, he does actually see it. But as I said, with a tornado, if you don't drop your throttle below like 90%, it's going to hit. Unless you turn into it, but at that kind of range, the Magic 2 is very, very quick. And the tornado is very, very brick. So it really has a bad time dodging you. The flares are very far apart, as I said. The engines are extremely hot, there is 2 of them. And the plane doesn't turn that well or pull that much AOA to actually get the engines out of the seeker. So it's very hard to dodge missiles in the tornado, unless you are preemptively trying to dodge it. And this F5C, absolutely goated, has been dogfighting this MiG-21 for quite a while now, and he's keeping him very, very slow. And I'm gonna be starting to prime the Magic 2 here. He's very slow, he's forced to keep that afterburner on, and he needs to start pre-flaring, because if this missile gets close enough, because his flares shoot out sideways, look at that, it doesn't even see the flares. If the missile gets close enough, and your flares kind of shoot out to the side or like up, it doesn't even go into the seeker. You need to roll over, then start flaring, but you don't think about those things in the heat of the moment. So he ends up eating the Magic 2 right in the fuselage. And now all that is left are 2 tornadoes. And this tornado has been sitting on the runway for a little bit now. And he's not moving, he's probably AFK, I'm not entirely sure. But he's just sitting there. Maybe he's trying to bait me into strafing him so that he can get the AA kill because he doesn't want to take off, because he doesn't know where I am, or he knows that I'm close and he doesn't actually want to do anything. I don't know what is going on. So what do? We turn the laser on, we lock him up, we shoot the missile off, and now all we need to make sure is that the targeting pod can see his plane at all times. So I will roll over and keep my belly always pointed towards him. I can't really check if he's taking off or not right now because I need to start worrying about the missiles, and I want to make sure that my plane doesn't automatically roll over. Luckily for us, he stays stationary and he ends up eating that anti-tank missile directly in the cockpit. So he is down, and now we are going to be engaging the last dude. And yes, you're seeing this correctly, he's kind of camping the airfield. Versus a Mirage with a singular magic left. We have 3 minutes of fuel. I know that I can stay directly above the airfield at this kind of altitude. The York shouldn't really shoot us and the missiles can go straight up. So for now, we are kind of okay. We are not really in that much of a pickle. We can try to get the lead in here. This is the second time I'm going to be using the rockets. I feel like that's way too little lead. He's going way too quick. And I just want to go vertical right now. I want to get out of the bubble of the proximity AA, and I'm gonna go straight over the tornado. Quite handily, because well, it's a tornado, it doesn't particularly maneuver quite well. So we are now pretty planted on that 6, so I'm gonna prime the Magic now, because he needs to dive out, and he's gonna point his engine directly at us. But he's not afterburning, he actually knows, and I get the 1 tornado in the enemy team that actually flares my missiles. I then go in for the rocket pods. And that's the second time I used them. And you saw how badly I underlet them, but that's good to keep in mind for the next time we might get a shot. The tornado is now on our 6, we cannot stick around. Because there's a lot of SAM-sites shooting at us. And I just need to make sure that he doesn't kill us. But we are also on the clock. I don't have much fuel. And as you can see, the tickets are basically non-existent. So what do? I need to get out of the AA range, at least the missile range. And then try the rocket pod in. I have 12 shots left. We are returning to the battlefield. We are low on fuel. We're low on everything. We pull up into him and he tries to go back to the runway. Absolutely perfect. We line up the shot. But again, I'm not really used to these, so we shoot a little bit too high because he rolls out. And now, very slow, very close, very tense. And 1 frame before we get shot down by the Roland. And yes, it's actually 1 frame. I managed to get the rocket off and it ends up killing him. Now we don't end up winning, which is kind of unfortunate. But hey, ace in the Mirage 2000D-R1, I'll take it any day of the week. Thank you all for watching and I'll see you all in the next one.